Okay, we can start now.
Good afternoon. This is a regular meeting of the Community Development Commission. Today is Wednesday, May 26th. Seeing a quorum, this means officially called to order. Madam Recording Secretary, please take roll call.
Roy Afusia,
Here.
Winston Covington,
Here.
Vince Frazier, Gilbert Vasquez. I know he's here. Right there. Gilbert Vasquez, thank you. Ana Cani Torres,
Here.
Dang Lee,
Yeah.
Irlanda Martinez,
Here.
Richard Santana,
Present.
Jennifer Oliva, Darlene Martinez Valbuena,
Here.
thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Recording Secretary. Can we have Member Balbuena lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance whenever you're ready?
Your right hand over your heart. And I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
One nation,
indivisible,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Balbuena, for that. We're gonna, at this time, we're gonna begin with public comments. Public comment may address the Community Development Commission regarding any non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of this committee. No actions may be taken on the non-agenda items unless authorized by law. Does the public have any comments they wish to share with the commission? Please know you have 3 minutes to speak. Madam Recording Secretary, do we have anyone online or on Zoom that would like to address the commission?
No, we do not.
Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close public comment and move on to the consent calendar. This is a time, before we move on to the consent calendar, I just want to make sure we are within. Mr. Roy, nice meeting you. It's the first time I've actually met you. I know that things have been crazy with COVID, and I want to make sure that you've been sworn in, and Mr. Judson had the chance to brief you and get you up to speed. Mr. Brown, would you like just to introduce yourself, or have you been sworn in? Just want to make sure that we're all in compliance with the city charter.
Yes, so I just did it with Bianca about 5 minutes before everybody came on.
Oh, great. Okay, so you did it beforehand. Awesome. We just haven't met the team. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and take the chance to introduce myself. I'm the chair of the commission. I have my vice chair. Where's my vice chair at? Mr. Torres. There you are. Come on, introduce yourself. And we have, if you guys want to take a quick second, I'm not sure if just do a quick round of introductions. I want to scare you. It's not a scary meeting. This is actually a pretty fun group. But we want to welcome you to the commission. And we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure you got the agenda, you got the notes, and it looks like you are from Local 706. So this is you're no stranger to parliamentary, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to jump into the consent calendar. This is time for the commission to consider matters under consent calendar items 1 and 2. Do I have a motion to consider items 1 and 2?
Let's move it.
We've got a motion from Mr. Covington. Can I get a second?
I second.
Who was that? Commissioner Torres, thank you. Madam Recording Secretary, can you please take roll call? Madam Recording Secretary, can you please take a roll call? She might be on mute.
Yes, she on the mute right now. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
And we have a motion by Winston Covington and then second by
Second by
Ana
Ms.
Cani
Commissioner Torres.
Torres. Okay. Roy Afusia, please say aye when I call your name.
Aye.
Thank you. Winston Covington,
Aye.
Gilbert Vasquez,
Aye.
Ana Cani Torres,
Aye.
Dang Lee,
Aye.
Irlanda Martinez, Irlanda Martinez.
Can y'all hear me?
Now we can. Thank you. Richard Santana,
Aye.
Darlene
Aye.
Martinez Valbuena. Thank you.
Great. So this passes unanimously. We'll now consider, we're going to move on to the business calendar. We will now consider matters under the business calendar. The first item on the business calendar is item number 3. recommending an on-call environmental review service agreement with Rincon Consultants, Inc., Chamber Group, Inc., and Michael Baker International, Inc. Will staff please report on this item?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to hand it off to our lead community development analyst, Mr. David Flores, to provide our presentation.
Go ahead, Mr. Flores.
Hello and good evening. So tonight staff is seeking your recommendation to council to award 3 contract agreements in the amount of $150,000 to Rincon Consultant, Chamber Groups, and Michael Baker International. So the city of Santa Ana is an entitlement jurisdiction, and we receive funds from HUD for 3 different programs: the home program, CDBG, and ESG program. And with those 3 programs, when we start any activity or any projects, all projects and activities have to go through an environmental review process. Some of these processes are very complex, so we are not able to do those here in-house or have the capacity to do it in-house. So we have to contract out to environmental to do that. So on March 1st, the city released a proposal for consultant services to 285 consultants. We received positive results with 11 organizations that responded and were interested in being part of the consultant groups. So they all went through a minimum threshold review. They all passed it. They were all reviewed through a committee that was composed of 5 staff members. And as you see in the staff report, there are the rankings of all of the consultants. And we ended up with 3, recommending 3 organizations for the term of 3 years to start August 1st of 2021.
Mr. Vasquez, if you don't mind just muting your device, that way there's no interruption. Go ahead, Mr. Dave.
So do you guys have any questions for staff?
I'll go ahead and open it for questions. Any commissioner would like to address staff on the 3 RFP proposals that have been ranked? Go ahead, Commissioner Covington.
Actually, Commissioner Torres was ahead of me, so if she wants to go first, that's fine.
You raised your hand before me, but I'll go. Thank you. I had a question about the amount. Is that for each group or in total for all groups?
Yes, thank you for your question. So that is for each organization per year.
Per year for 3 years.
Correct.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Covington.
Okay. One of the things that I really got from the video of Lead the Way was questioning. And so my curiosity is, do we have previous experience with these 3 companies? That's my first question. Second is, I did some research on all 3 of these. Some of these seem to specialize in site evaluation, some of these more in infrastructure, some more in environmental issues. Who's who and how are we going to apply these 3?
Sure. So in regards to your first question, we currently have an agreement with Rincon Consultants, and they've been our contractor for the past 3 years, and they've been very successful and accommodating to our request. So with the 3 organizations, they do vary in experience, but they all have experience in providing reviews for our NEPA review, which is the federal requirement. So we're basically going to be using them for capital improvement projects funded through the 3 HUD-funded programs.
But I think I was looking to go a little bit deeper as to who is going to be doing the site evaluation, who's doing the infrastructure, who's doing the environmental impact report. Do we have that divided up as far as responsibilities yet or no?
No, we don't. So the way this works is that when we have a capital improvement project that needs an environmental review through NEPA process, we will request a quote from all 3 organizations, And whoever gives us the best quote with the best time frame will be awarded that project to do the entire review, the full review, not
Okay.
portion.
Last question, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Okay, we only have experience with one, which is Rincon. The fee of 150,000 in your past experience here with the city and this commission, is that within reason? Is that high? Is that low? Is that right down the middle of the road?
So it's somewhat high this year, but we intend to have multiple projects for the next 3 years. So that's why we set the bar a little bit higher, or the amount a little bit higher than usual. But just because we set that amount doesn't mean we're going to expend the whole amount every single year. Like I said, we will request a quote, and the lowest bidder and the person who has the best time frame will be awarded that contract for that individual project.
Thank you.
Great questions, Covington. If no one wants to go, I'll go ahead and go next. So in totality, we have about $450,000 that can be used and per fiscal year. Being that these are the top 3 firms, what happens when one gets tied up or one can't make it? Does that mean that is there a preference one over the other?
Well, if council awards the contract agreements with all 3 agencies, we have the option of going with any of the 3. So if one's not able to do it 1 year, or for that specific project because they are tied up in projects, we can ask the other 2 to provide us with quotes or to compete.
It just seems that there's going to be a big infrastructure change, especially with the Biden administration coming in, and just want to make sure that can you give some examples of some projects that are in the pipeline that the commission doesn't know about, but that are just pretty much on the framework?
Yeah, definitely. So with our annual action plan that was just approved by council on May 4th, we approved several capital improvement projects to include residential street improvement at the Henninger neighborhood. Also, we are doing the Santa Anita Park. We're going to expand the parking lot, and we're going to remove the basketball court and relocate that. So because we're doing those types of projects, they always require the environmental review process. And that's why we have to consult with these organizations to assist us.
Great. Thank you for that answer. And then can you just, one last question, I'm going to go ahead and bounce it to Mrs. Martinez next. But so is ESG done in-house, or can you explain a little bit with that process?
Sure. So ESG, the Emergency Solutions Grant, we award money every single year to nonprofits. So with the nonprofits, we have the capability of doing all those reviews in-house because they're not as complex as the capital improvement project. So we can do those in-house. We can go into the HUD website and we can register all those environmentals there. The ones that are a little bit more complicated, like I stated before, would be for the capital improvement projects that are usually funded through the CDBG grant or the home grant.
Great. And so there's just 2 differences, right?
Correct.
Capital improvements and ESG, 2 separate things. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Commissioner Martinez. You want to go ahead and ask your question, and I'm going to bounce it back to Mr. Covington.
Thank you. I have 2 quick questions. The first one is, are these contracts on a not to exceed basis, meaning that they will charge until they hit the $150,000 mark, or is it a solid $150 contract for each of the consultants?
Yes, great question. It's not to exceed 150,000.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question, so I actually work for one of the firms that applied, Harrison Associates. So I think I'm gonna have to recuse from the vote. I guess that's a question for staff in general. And for,
Mr. Hodge, can you answer that? We'll leave it to council.
If you are going to be recusing yourself, you have to do it at the beginning of the matter and not participate at all. So you would need to recuse now and not participate in the discussion. But in terms of, let me see, what was it again? You work for one of the other groups that proposed and was not selected?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's a somewhat of a, you might have to dig a little deeper, in terms of, because it's whether or not you might have a personal financial conflict to that. So if your employer, if you might be working on that project, that could potentially be a potential economic impact for you. So, I'm not ready to say right now that it definitely is something that you should recuse yourself on, but in an abundance of caution, you might want to decide to do that at this point.
I'll
Ms.
go ahead and
Speed,
do
can
that.
you please put her in the waiting room for the time being, and then after the vote, we'll go ahead and bring you back. Seeing that Commissioner Martinez recused herself, we'll go ahead and move on to the next commissioner. I believe someone had their hand up. Go ahead, Mr. Covington.
A question about the true cost of the contract. I know what I heard, but I'm looking at what I'm reading. Can you go over that? I thought I heard it was $150,000 each year per contractor, but the way I'm reading it, it's $150,000 per contract for a 3-year period.
Commissioner Covington, you're exactly right. It's for a total of 3-year period.
150,000 covers that 3-year period.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You can see where that gets a little tricky because it says here, the city of Santa enters into a 3-year term agreement with each of the firms in the amount of $150,000. So is that going back? It's each firm, not all firms together, correct?
Correct. It's each term for a 3-year period. Each
Gotcha.
firm. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions before we move this item along? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve item number 3 to recommend on-call environmental review service agreements with Rincon Consultants, Inc., Chamber Group, Inc., and Michael Baker International, Inc.?
Let's move it.
Got a motion from Covington. Can I get a second?
A second.
Second from Commissioner Lee. Thank you. Madam Recording Secretary, can you please take roll call?
When I say your name, please say aye. Roy Afusia,
Aye.
Winston Covington,
Aye.
Gilbert Vasquez, Gilbert Vasquez.
Aye.
Thank you. Ana Cani Torres.
Aye.
Dang Lee,
Aye.
Irlanda Martinez, she abstained. Richard Santana,
Aye.
thank you.
Great. Item passes unanimously with 1 abstention. Okay, can you bring back Ms. Commissioner Martinez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Welcome back, Mr. Brown. Zoom magic. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Martinez, for your abundance of caution. We're going to go ahead and move on to staff comments. Does staff have any comments they wish to share with the commission?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have very many comments today, except a large and major announcement, I would say, for the commission and for members of the public who may be watching the commission meeting. Next week, we are aiming for Wednesday we are going to be relaunching our emergency rental assistance program to begin paying 100% of the back rent for tenants who are receiving assistance and approved for assistance through our program. We hope this change will help us to assist more families in the community and completely pay off the rent that they owe to their landlord, preventing families from being evicted with the end of the eviction moratorium. And so we will be, that will be forthcoming in our next press release and be forthcoming for the change to the program. So please keep a lookout for that.
Mr. Brown, can you say that one more time?
Yes. Yeah.
One more
that's-
time, nice and loud. Go ahead, Ms. Brown.
We're going to be
From the top.
paying off 100% of the back rent for families in the city of Santa Ana.
100%.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. That's great. That's actually fantastic. It's you know, I know we're all excited about the economy opening, but there's a lot of stress, and this is something that is people have been waiting for. And I want to thank the city, I want to thank your department and everyone who's working really hard to make sure that our Santa residents can have some relief knowing that their backdated rent is being paid. And I'm sure you're going to bring a lot of people comfort next week. So thank you for that. And thank you for all that you do. And I'm going to go ahead and move it on to commission comments. Was that all, Mr. Brown, that you had to report back?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Great. We're going to move it on to commission comments. Commissioners may please note that no, you rewind it right back. Sorry. My mind is just blown that we're getting this money out the door. So I'm going to go back to my script. Commission members, please note that members may speak more than once until we all have had the opportunity to speak. Also, the commission may vote to limit our comments. So seeing that, we're just going to go ahead and open it. Any commissioner want to speak? Go ahead, Mr. Covington.
Question for Justin. Excuse me, I'll turn off my phone.
He's a
here.
busy guy. All right,
Yes.
we'll come back to you. Next commissioner. Any other commissioner want to speak?
Yes, this is
Go ahead.
Mr. Roy.
Go ahead, Mr. Roy.
Yes, due that this is my first meeting, I just want to say congratulations to all of you guys, and thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
Welcome, welcome. I hope you bring a lot of questions and thoughts to the table, and please, we would like to hopefully do this in person. I'm getting tired of this Zoom stuff. And in person, I'm sure we get to meet staff, we get to talk, and so welcome to the commission. Thank you for being here. Would any other commissioners like to go ahead? Go ahead, Mr. Covington, and then Madam Chair, you're next.
I was going to say ladies first again, but back to the question I was going to ask Judson for the rental assistance. I know that's going to be helping a lot of families here in Santa Ana. But question, does that go all the way back to March of 2020? And is there a cap on that? Or is it pretty much just whatever they need verified by the landlord? That's what's going to get paid.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that question. So it will go back to March 30th of last year, all dating back to the start of the pandemic. And as verified by the landlord, as certified by the landlord, there will be no limit on the amount of repayment by the city for to ensure that tenants do not have any back rent in the city due to the pandemic.
Got it. Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, one of the things I thought was a good idea, and I heard it in the training there, Lead the Way, and we did this many years ago when I was a member of this commission back in the day, that we would actually take a field trip once we can do so safely to see some of the sites where this committee, this body is assisting, people. I think the quote was decent, safe, and sanitary housing. I'd love to do that and take a tour. And let's just see what some of our funds are doing for the families of Santa Ana.
I agree with you, Commissioner Covington, and I can tell you firsthand, I've had the privilege to have gone out with staff to shelters, homes, grand openings. So I'm telling you, once things are up in the clear and it's safe to do so, I know that city staff would love to, send us out to inspect and be part of the process. So that's something to look forward to in the near future. But it's a good reminder to the new commissioners who are coming in. There's a lot of projects down the pipeline, and if your schedule allows, it's always great to see what you're voting on and see the work that you're doing as part of this commission to help bring families move forward. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Commissioner Martinez. Would you like to address city staff?
Sorry. I did want to welcome Commissioner Felicia to the commission. We're very excited that you're here. And secondly, I just wanted to make a comment and congratulate staff on this program. As a consultant, I work with many cities across California, and this is something that we try and help our clients achieve. And I think it's pretty rare, at least with my clients. So I think this is huge, especially with homelessness prevention, because I think that a lot of families will be at risk of homelessness. So I don't know, I think this is huge. I'm very excited about it, and I wanted to thank you all for your work on this.
Thank you, Commissioner Martinez. Would any other commissioner like to address? Go ahead, Madam Chair, Vice Chair.
I want to echo Commissioner Martinez's sentiments as well. Project and how helpful it'll be to a lot of Santa Ana families. I also want to welcome Commissioner Hucia to our space here. Thank you for being here. And I also wanted to say I apologize for missing last month's meeting. I had a work commitment. But I wanted to ask if we are able, if staff is able to answer this question, are we able to request a report or an update regarding the homeless folks that were moved from El Centro Cultural and what their housing status is? Or where we're able to get that information, and whether folks are all being helped or some, and how the division is assisting in that. And another thing, just an observation in general for the meeting, are we able to close caption these meetings, given that I know I've noticed they're not, and so just to be like ADA compliant, if we're able to close caption meetings in the future.
Great recommendations. I'm gonna leave that to Mr. Brown if you want to answer any of those questions.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Torres, I will ask our homeless services manager to prepare to see if she can send something out to the commission with an update on homeless individuals moved from El Centro Cultural and their housing outcomes.
Would you be able to share that with me as well? Mr.
Yes,
Brown?
sir.
Thank you.
We could send it to the whole commission.
That's fantastic. And is that the division of the COLT team?
Yeah, it would be, it's going to be COLT team information and other information that Terry will have through our contract with CityNet. Yeah, I'm hoping that it's readily available information that we'll be able to send out to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Commissioner Dingley.
I just want to say welcome to Commissioner Roy, and well, thank you to staff, for you guys doing the report and everything. Just added on, but thank you. But, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Dingley, and like Versa, welcome, brother. 760 is 769 or 760? 769.
709.
709. There you go. I'm blind as a bat, but it's okay. Well, great. I think today was a productive meeting. Thank you all for being here today. This meeting is adjourned. The next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, June 23rd at 4:30 p.m. Call this meeting to order. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.